Hey guys, it's an interesting video on Wild Rift. So they're back with a Corki updated complete guide, and now I didn't think that I have to do this because I thought that my Corki build and everything was completely updated, but it turns out that it wasn't, because I've been playing Corki a lot in recent times, mostly because the meta sort of have shifted to like a AD mid lane kind of meta. So a lot of times you would have an AD top and AD mid and an AD jungle, so you need some AP in your team, which is why it's very common nowadays to have either a AP carry like a Ziggs, Orianna, or Veigar, or even Brand kind of champion in playing as the ADC role, or of course your alternative is Corki, which is of course more of a marksman kind of champion other than the mages that I've just covered. So I've been playing Corki a lot, mostly because of the meta, and of course we'll be covering him in our tier list upcoming, which will be released after set. But I believe Corki is a very strong champion, and we're going to cover his new build runes and spells today. Now we won't be covering what his skills and abilities do, because we have already covered that in the previous Corki complete guide, so I will link that up in the cards as well as the description. And without further ado, we can quickly move on to the Corki complete guide. Alright, so Corki over here. Okay, so this is the updated build for Corki. Now, I previously said that I think Corki might be the only champion that still built Essence Reaver. Turns out I was wrong, because one match I decided to switch up my build and try out the Manamune instead of the Essence Reaver, and since then I've never looked back. I basically built Manamune on every Corki match I played after that, and I found a lot of success with it. Now, one of the core problems that Corki has is his intense mana usage. Now, whether that be in lane or just throughout the game in general, you will find that you will always be running out of mana, even with the Manamune. So imagine if you didn't have the Manamune, if you had the Essence Reaver, you would be running out of mana all the time. And previously I was thinking that, you know, if I get the Essence Reaver, I have 100% crit with the Solari Charge Blade and the Infinity Edge. So probably the Essence Reaver is better, but overall I have figured out that it isn't. Now that's for two reasons. The first reason is Essence Reaver as an item itself is really bad. Even though they just buffed it in patch 3.0, I have covered it numerous times that the Essence Reaver is a pretty bad item. Just because for the price, what you're getting in terms of the stats and the ability isn't really that good. So the second reason is, if you don't have Manamune on Corki and you have to keep on backing in order to get mana, even like Sweet Tooth or Mana Flow Band isn't really even going to help you that much. So if you have to keep on backing to get mana, it means that you're losing out on a lot of tempo in the map. So sometimes when you should be in fights with your team, you instead are backing, because obviously Corki is a caster style marksman, so without mana, your auto attacks aren't really going to do too much. So you're going to be backing for mana. You'll be late maybe to dragon fights, you'll be late to heralds, you will be ditching your team to recall and get mana. I find myself in these kind of situations very often, or if not, even if you don't have these kind of scenarios, it's very irritating to keep having to back and get mana, because it just loses you tempo on the map. So basically, the way to go is the Manamune. Of course, I start off with the Sapphire Crystal at the beginning, but you can choose to start off with Longsword instead. On your first back, try to get your tier, and then build your entire Manamune finish, and then move on to the next item, which is the Solari Charge Blade. Now, of course, this item gives you 50% crit every time you cast an ability. With Corki, you cast a lot of abilities, particularly with your 6 stacks on your ultimate, so you'll always have Charge Blade stacks up, and of course, it does increase your damage as well, so really no-brainer to go for Charge Blade as your second item. Then after that, you go for, of course, normally your boots. Now, generally, I like to take Gluttonous Greaves on Corki, because Corki doesn't really have a lot of lifesteal aside from the Hunter Vampirism and the Gluttonous Greaves. So I do enjoy taking the Gluttonous Greaves on Corki. And for the upgrade, generally your best upgrade is going to be Zhonya's, because one of the things Corki has to do, but is very dangerous, is to go in with his package, and his package normally makes him land up in a dangerous position. So generally you want to take stasis, so after you use your package, if you are in a horrible position in the middle of all the enemies, you can hit your stasis and wait for your team to come and back you up. So generally stasis is the way to go. Of course, the QSS is also a viable option. Most of the time you won't need Proto Belt, because you already have a dash on your second ability. Alright, now after you get these, you normally go for the Infinity Edge. Now this will get you 50 to 75% crit depending on if you have a charge blade stack up. Normally you will have 75% crit almost permanently because you spam your spells a lot, and of course auto attacking in between to proc the Sunburst passive on the charge blade. So after that, you move on to the Void Staff, and the reason why you go for Void Staff instead of something like a Mauler Reminder or Esmeralda's Grudge is that Corki basically does 80% magic damage and 20% physical damage, which you will see, you know, when you play Corki a lot, and even when you crit, you do mostly magic damage. So basically, he is more or less an AP champion with a little bit of AD as well. So you go for the Void Staff to give you that magic penetration, which is of course what you need. Lastly, you go for the GA, of course, for the revive. Now, Corki of course does have a lot of items he can build aside from these. So, especially if your GA is down, you can and you should swap it out for other items. Now, one common fallacy: do not go for the Bloodthirster, because the Bloodthirster gives you 15% physical vamp, as we have just covered. Corki does mainly magic damage, so Bloodthirster isn't really going to do a lot for him. So if you want to change your last item, you can go for a crit item to give yourself 100% crit, which is something like the Static Shift, the Rapid Fire Cannon. Don't go for Runan's Hurricane, it's not really good on Corki. You can also go for, of course, you can technically go for like something like the Essence Reaver or the Storm Razor. If I go for crit item, I would normally go for Static Shift or Rapid Fire Cannon. Triforce, you can also go as a replacement to your Guardian Angel, but since it's so expensive, generally you won't really have enough for it to swap back and forth between Triforce and Guardian Angel, so I wouldn't really go for that. I wouldn't really go for Death's Dance as well, because yet again it's physical vamp, which doesn't really benefit Corki a whole lot. What I can go for is the Maw of Malmortius if I need some magic resistance. It's better than the Wit's End in this case, because Corki doesn't rely on attack speed too much, so the Maw is just better in general. So Maw if you need it. And aside from that, of course, Corki does magic damage as well. So here is some, I wouldn't say it's a secret, but here is an item that most people would not really consider when they think about Corki, which is, where is it? The Hextech Gunblade. So if you want to get some form of lifesteal aside from the Gluttonous Greaves and the Hunter Vampirism, you go for the Hextech Gunblade instead of the GA. Now this of course gives you AD and AP, which you scale with both, but what it does give you is 15% magical and physical vamp. So this will benefit Corki 100%. Aside from, of course, the slow ability, slow passive with the Hextech Bolt as well. So this is your main lifesteal item that you go for. Of course, the drawback is that it doesn't give crit, but honestly, if it were me, if I need to replace my GA, I would be replacing it with the Hextech Gunblade because I want that lifesteal. Now, quickly gonna cover the runes and the spells. For the runes, obviously Conquer is a no-brainer. It's you know, far and away the best rune for like ADCs or any kind of consistent damage-dealing champions. So for the second one, I like to go for Hunter Vampirism in matchups that I don't feel safe. But in certain matchups, like for example, if there is no backline assassin or no backline diver, I actually do like going for champion. So Corki and Ezreal are some of the very few champions that I do actually take champion on, because I do feel safe enough to do so. So I will actually go for champion on Corki's, you know, from time to time, like almost 50-50 split, honestly. So for the second one, Bone Plating, of course, for the anti-burst, or Hunter Titan for the tenacity, depending on what you need. And last one, of course, Sweet Tooth as usual for the sustain in lane. For the spells, it's pretty obvious. You have your heal and barrier if you need it, and your flash, of course. So technically another option you can go for is the Mana Flow ban, but really I don't really like it. With the Mana Immune, I wouldn't even say you have enough mana of the Mana Immune, but I would say that Mana Immune pretty much solves your mana issue. So you rarely ever run out of mana, but it still happens if you stay out on the map for too long. But Sweet Tooth, in my opinion, is just way better because it gives you more health on the Honey Fruit when you need it. So without further ado, we can quickly jump right into the gameplay. Alrighty, so here we have the Corki gameplay. So as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and any questions can be put in the comments below, and I will be answering all of them. So basically, Corki, something to take note of while you watch the video is, if you've seen any of my previous Corki videos, you will know that with the Essence Reaver build, you run out of mana really fast, and with this one, you don't run out of mana as fast, but you will still run out of mana from time to time if you stay out on the map for too long. So that is something that you can notice. Now, I'm going to very briefly cover when you pick Corki, and this one is very, very straightforward. No in-depth explanation like all the other ADCs, because pretty much there's only one reason you pick Corki, which is your team has no AP. So if you look at my team, we have a Darius top, no AP, a Jarvan jungle, no AP. We have a Zed mid, no AP, and we do have a Nami support, which is AP, but Nami is pretty much an enchanter. If it was like a Lux or a Seraphine support, maybe I'd count that as AP, depending on if they even build AP or a support. Anyways, if you pick Lux or Seraphine support, you should be building support anyway, so maybe I would even count that as AP. But in this match, it's very clear cut. In the top side of the map, there's completely no AP. There's only Nami in our team which has any form of AP. So Nami obviously doesn't really do damage, so basically we don't have any AP. So basically that's when you pick Corki. You pick Corki when your team has no AP. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Just pick Corki when your team has no AP. Now of course, if you are in this particular situation, in this lane playing ADC, you could also of course pick Ziggs, Brand, Veigar, or Orianna, as we covered earlier. This is pretty much the only 4 mages you can pick in the bot lane. Technically speaking, you can pick any mage you want in the bot lane, but these are pretty much the top 4. Probably the best is Ziggs, followed by Orianna, then Veigar, and then Brand. So yeah, but just take note is that even though your whole team is AD and you pick, like, let's say for example a Veigar ADC, your whole team is, if you're in like lower elo, your whole team is gonna flame you and they're gonna just say, why didn't you pick an ADC, etc, etc. If you want to avert that problem, pick Corki, because Corki is an ADC. But yeah, of course, do what's best for yourself and for your team, even if your teammates might think it's wrong. It's always the way to go in games. Like sometimes, they pick a stupid fight and you, instead of joining them in the fight, you take the farm in the lane, and they're gonna ping you, they're gonna flame you because you didn't show up to the fight. But if you show up to the fight, the enemy would get 1 more kill, you would have 1 more death, and you wouldn't get all the farm anyway, so nothing would come of it. So pretty much just make your own decisions on what is best to do in the game, and not let your teammates be the ones to dictate that. Of course, if they make good calls, then of course listen to them, but if not, of course you don't. So anyways, regardless, on my end, I love playing Corki personally. I have been practicing Corki a lot. Now last time, back when back when I believe it was the item update in patch 2.4. Patch 2.4 item update with the new Solar Recharge Blade, and I'm not sure, I think Corki got buffed if I'm not wrong. Somewhere along Corki got buffed, and he became really good. And I've always been saying he's been really good ever since that day, aside from his mana problems, which now we've resolved with the mana mune. But I've always been saying he's very good, just that I don't really play him so often, because as I already covered, you pretty much only want to play Corki when your team has no AP. And really, you wouldn't really want to pick Corki other than that, unless you really do want to play him. But he isn't really a very good pick as an ADC if your team already has AP, because ADC as a role, you're supposed to be a constant DPS in terms of AD damage. Now the only reason why I picked Corki, of course, is while technically Jarvan, Zed, and Darius are not constant AD damage, but there are 3 forms of AD damage already, which is good enough. So we gotta take some AP damage. So now I'm gonna quickly get into one of the main points when we talk about Corki, which is your package usage. So pretty much at 4 minutes, you gotta be in the base ready to pick up your package like I am. You gotta be headed to either the Herald or the Dragon and ready to package in and use it for the good of your team. Now here, this was not a very good package. It did split up the Yasuo from his team, but it wasn't really the best package. Technically here we do manage to find a pick onto the Yasuo, and as a result we managed to pick up the Herald. After that we managed to zone off the entire enemy team, so it isn't really the worst. But yeah, so one very important aspect of Corki is his package usage. So pretty much you should always be trying to save your package for the dragon fights. Now of course Corki did catch a nerf where the package no longer kind of synergizes with the objective spawn timing, so there is a sort of slight issue there, and sometimes it even is a good idea to not pick up the package on purpose and save it for when the objective spawns. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. So in lane, we didn't really get to discuss Corki's laning phase, but pretty much in lane, in almost any matchup is pretty straightforward, unless maybe you're against a Caitlyn or maybe even a Xayah who has very long range and can destroy you. Pretty much in every other matchup, it's pretty simple. Try to that was an egregious ward, by the way. I missed the bush by a mile, but I managed to escape with my life. You pretty much just want to poke them with your Q at every available opportunity. Same goes with your R as well, at every available opportunity. If you get into a trade, pop your E, and if they stand in your E for a few seconds, your damage really is going to ramp up. Now, Corki isn't really the best early game damage, but if you have your E on them a couple of seconds, you will be doing a lot of damage. Now here, I'm kind of flirting with death here, really low, but my team, you know, is winning the fight, so I'm just sticking around, trying to contribute in a safe but meaningful way. So I'm just trying to do whatever I can. Here the Braum gets hooked over the wall, and Braum is pretty much dead. He has no escape. I believe it was the Vayne didn't get to him and allow him to jump back over. So technically I think Vayne could have saved him, but she didn't. So we get a free pick onto the Braum. And yeah, so Corki really not the best early game, but in terms of poking and all, he's not bad. Sort of like how an Ezreal isn't really strong early game at all, but his poke can be very annoying. So same goes with Corki. His poke can be really annoying, especially into like melee matchups, like not melee matchups, but short range matchups like the Vayne. Corki can be very irritating for her to deal with because you can consistently poke her and she can't really do too much. Speaking of Ezreal, Ezreal just got buffed, and an Ezreal video is in the works. I already got the gameplay for it, so I just gotta record the Ezreal video, but the Ezreal video is coming out really soon. Alright, so here we have the package, and there isn't any objective spawning anytime soon. So here, this is one way to use the package. You package straight into the lane, and you split up the enemy bot lane. So here, I packaged away. Vayne has to walk across the package to get to the Braum, which is exactly what she did. The package does a lot of damage, so we get the pick onto the Vayne, and as a result, Braum is pulled into the fight. We get a pick onto the Braum as well, so here we get a 2v2 double kill in the bot lane. So that's one of the other uses of the package. Now this is a way less effective use of the package compared to if you use it in a objective fight. Objective fight is the best way to use your package, so pretty much try to use it for that. Now I will say a common fallacy for a lot of Corkis when it comes to the package, including myself, and I do make this mistake very often myself, is you always package into a horrible position. Sometimes to get a good package you have to get into a bad position. It is a given fact. Sometimes you do have to get into a bad position, but you of course follow up by using your W to get back to a better position, and sometimes even you have to W flash, because of course your W distance is not as much as your package distance, and sometimes you have to package in, W back, and then flash out, or sometimes you package in and instantly hit your stasis. So that's one of the kind of drawbacks of Corki, is that to get a good package you gotta put yourself into danger sometimes, and sometimes you because of that you have to blow flash, you have to blow stasis, etc. Alright, so here our team is very objective focused. We have the Herald coming up real soon. Realize there's a chance to take down the mid lane tower, so me and Nanami, of course, we're going to quickly do that. And here Herald is coming up. Of course, we don't have the package because we just use it to get a 2v2 kill in the top lane. So no package for us in this particular matchup, but it looks like it's fine. The Zed is kind of running interference in their jungle. And here Yasuo engages into the Zed. Here we are just staying in the relative backline and trying to just hit whoever we can with our autos as well as our ultis. So of course the ulti range is pretty far, so you can't actually just like use it to poke people as well. Now this isn't like Elite PC where one ulti can do like half health of a squishy target, but his ulti will still do quite a reasonable amount of damage. So that is of course really good. So here, if you notice, the Ocean Dragon is spawning in roughly, I would say at this point, like 35 seconds. Now maybe about 30 seconds. Now here I'm going to just show you guys, if you take a look there beside my evolved Mana Immune to Mirror Mana, you guys can see the package is about to spawn. So I'm just waiting in the base for a good like 20 plus seconds for my package to spawn. So I have it for the dragon fight. Here I have picked up the package. 15 seconds more to dragon spawn, so just nice for me to pick up the package and hit over to the dragon area. Now of course the drawback, not drawback, but the problem here is that my team isn't ready. Nami and Darius just back, so we don't really have setup around the dragon. We catch the Jax in the area, so of course we know that enemy team is around there. Here I do something a little bit dangerous, which is to ward the tri-bush. Now if there could be like 3 enemies in that bush and I would have instantly died, but Honestly, I feel if you're Corki with package, it's really hard to get caught, because if 3 people jump at you, you just package out, because you are unstoppable and nobody can CC you out of your package. So really, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think if you're a package, you have relative safety. So here we still have the package, kind of waiting for an opportunity to use it, of course. Alright, so here, we use the package to escape because we got caught out of position by the Jax, but Jax and Braum walk back onto my package, I believe, to try to chase and kill me. So pretty much that was a poor package from me because I used it to escape. As in terms of damage output, it wasn't good. In terms of escaping, yeah, it was a good use. But the enemy team made it a very good use of the package by simply walking onto my package and pretty much disrespecting my package damage, and they both paid the price for it, of course, with their lives, and they handed me a double kill. So I'm fine with that, but yeah, pretty nice, I guess. Alright, so here we picked up the dragon and the herald. We picked up both dragons and heralds already, actually. So here it's a pretty nice time to get a reset and pick up some items. So here my whole team is backing out of the enemy jungle, and we're all gonna get a reset. Alright, so here of course I'm building towards my Infinity Edge as we covered earlier. And I already have my Gluttonous Greaves. So we're in very good shape. We are at the moment 4-0-8. So we're doing pretty well. And if you guys notice, so far in this particular game, we haven't actually faced any mana issues. Now, of course, if you stay on the map for too long, as I pretty much did for the 3rd time by now, and you just spam your abilities like what I do, you will run out of mana. But for this game in particular, we have been fine so far. We haven't really had instances where we are completely dry. Checking for enemy blue buff, nobody home. So here, this is pretty much some downtime. There is no objectives to be taken, and there isn't really a fight to be had. So here we're just kind of pushing up, and our whole team is kind of around the area aside from the Jarvan. So here I'm going to kind of try to bait the enemies, because obviously when they see an ADC pushing up, they're always going to go for the ADC. Darius is kind of generally ready nearby in the vicinity, so is Nami. And here a fight in general just breaks out. So here, of course, I'm in the backline, walk straight into the Jax stun. Here I'm trying to kite away while going. I flash and I E, but a little bit too much damage. I nearly got the trade onto the Yasuo, but unfortunately, the Yasuo didn't manage to ult me, so his passive came back up, so really nothing much I can do about that. Darius, in the meantime, going ham with a triple. So in terms of overall, our team is still doing fine. Like, we are almost 10k gold ahead of the enemy team, and we're in very good shape. So a little bit of a boo-boo there. Obviously, it's not good to fight over nothing. There isn't really any objective or anything to fight for, but a fight just, it just broke out, I guess. So, we did our best, but pretty much the enemy team did the right thing by obviously trying to focus me, and yeah, so we got caught there. So, of course, happens as any ADC. So here I'm going top to just clear out the lane. Got quadruple cannon minions for us to pick up. Really nice gold and CS for us. Now, of course, the Baron is up already, and being almost 10k gold ahead of the enemy team pretty much means we can more or less just go for the Baron. So here I have my package at the ready. Of course, as far as possible, you always want to have package ready. Zed finds a pick onto the Yasuo, and pretty much I'm just pinging for Baron because I want us to start quickly while the Yasuo is down and we have a numbers advantage. So here I'm pinging for Baron, at the same time pushing out the bot wave, so we have bot lane priority. There is pushing out mid lane, so we have mid lane priority. And yeah, so here we're just going to straight up just go for the Baron. Here, as Corki, when you're doing objectives, just spam your spells on it, even your E. Sometimes you want to save your E, but other times you don't. So here I use package because it's pretty much only 5 seconds left on the package, so I just lay it across the Baron pit. If the enemies come in, which they Jax kind of did, but it also does damage to the Baron, so no big deal there. Here, Darius is chasing for kills, and I'm just in the backline shredding using my Gatling gun. Of course, I do manage to pick up 1 kill, and here we have Baron. So really, it isn't wise to fight. Really, this fight benefits the enemy team because if they get kills, which they did get 2 of them, onto the Darius and the Jarvan, we will, of course, lose the Baron buff. So we have lost 2 out of our 5 Baron buffs. We have Orianna back in a poor position. She's Zanya's, but pretty much just wasted because there's no way she's going to escape anyways. And we do get the free pick onto the Orianna. So it's a 2-for-2 trade overall, but we have Baron, so we come out on the worser end. So if you have Baron and if you don't need to fight, you shouldn't be fighting even if you're the team that is ahead, because really, even if you trade even with the enemy team, they will get out of it with more than you. And when I say that when you have Baron, I mean not when you have the Baron buff, but after you've completed the Baron. Because after you do Baron, Baron shreds your defenses. So if you fight them with the shredded defenses and you trade even, pretty much they benefit because they remove your Baron buff. But of course, if you've all reset already, of course by all means go for a fight. Why not? Extend your lead, use your Baron to end the game after getting some picks. Why not? So here he managed to evade the Jax again, dashing away before he manages to stun us. I assume that the Jarvan smited the Jax when he jumped into the pit, so I do manage to pick up the dragon with, I believe it was my ultimate. So anyways, we have our 3 main core items, which is of course the Mana Immune, the Solar Charge Blade, and the Infinity Edge. So at this point we are pretty strong. Here I'm trying to actually pick up the mid lane tower. Yasuo being annoying by putting up the wind wall, so really hard for me to really do anything. Alright, we get pulled back by the Orianna ult, and I'm gonna just Valkyrie away just to stay safe. And we ran out of the Baron buff, unfortunately, but we are still going to try to force down the mid lane tower, which we do manage to pick up. And pretty much we have nothing to fight for anymore, so we shouldn't. But this team really bloodthirsty of a team, I guess you could say. So our next goal is of course to get this bot lane tier 2. In the meantime, Zed is pushing in for the top lane inhibitor. Of course, technically, either he will distract the enemy team for us, which he does, or we'll end up distracting the enemy team for him. Either way, we're gonna get one of the towers, so we do get the tier 2 in bot. Only the top and bot inhibitors are standing for the enemy team at this point in time. Nice wind wall by Yasuo to block the Nami ultimate, and Yasuo has his tornado. He's coming in, but we are running away. So here looks like a fight is gonna break out again. So here I'm just kind of waiting, see if anything happens. But we kind of want to back because Baron is coming back up again, and my package is ready in the base just about 10-20 seconds ago. So I am backing and gonna pick up my package. There we go. So we're gonna head over to the Baron with the package at the ready. So as you guys can see, in this particular match, my package management was really good. Pretty much I used package for objectives entirely, except for that one time I used it in lane because it was kind of mistimed off objectives, and you really shouldn't leave it there for like 2 minutes or so. That's not really worth it. Alright, so here I'm waiting for a good opportunity to use my package. Of course, here they have to walk into us, so there's 2 possible choke points, one at the blue buff kind of area and the other one over the blue buff wall, kind of where Jarvan is at the moment. So here I'm just waiting for a good opportunity. Here I'm going to go in with my package, I believe. There we go. So I go into the package. Now this is technically a dangerous position, but I'm pretty much 1v1 against Orianna, so I don't have to Zhonya's or Flash or anything. So here Jax actually dies to my package, and I end up getting a Quadra. Now this was my Penta. I flash over for the Penta, but I get KS by the Zed. So that was an unofficial Penta with Corki, and that is like my second. The previous one I actually did get a Penta on Corki, but I didn't actually post it on YouTube as a video. But Corki really doing good for me at the moment, getting a Penta and another unofficial one. But anyways, I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual. So thank you guys for watching the video, and goodbye.